Hey guys, SoCal Val here. You are listening to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast.
Ringside View returns for those of you that have never seen Ringside View. Number one, why? But anyway, it's back today, and Ringside View was where we don't always interview the wrestlers, we interview the people involved in wrestling. And today, that person just so happens to have a show coming up very, very soon with a certain former WWE star, Leo Rush. And this would be John from Slammasters. Welcome to the show, John.
Hey Adam, thanks for having me on.
Not a problem at all. Thanks for coming on. John, let's just go back first. We talk about this stack show you've got coming up. It's going to be an amazing show coming up very, very soon. But talk about the inception. How did Slam Masters happen?
Okay, cool. So in a previous life, I was say a local level wrestler around the South Wales scene. Debuted at the tail end of 2016. Uh, work shows for a couple of years. And one day, I was primarily working Royal Imperial Wrestling at the time, and a guy called Big D. That weirdly we live about 5 streets apart, but met each other through wrestling. We were just talking backstage for whatever reason. We were looking around, people talking about the matches or what have you. And I made a little comment along the lines of I reckon we could put a show on. And he kind of replied a little bit. He was like, oh, yeah, we could. Just followed up with it then. About within a few days, and before we knew it, we had the venue in our local village of Bather booked, and we were starting to make it happen. The Welsh scene in 2019 was quite a bit different to how it is now. There wasn't less than half of the promotions that are running now, and it was a little bit fractured as well in that if you worked one place, you probably weren't going to get invited to another place, and like training schools weren't they were kind of separate as well, completely different now. So the idea behind it was to welcome people from say all training schools in Wales. It was probably both, not necessarily all in 2019, to be fair. And yeah, just to try and rewrite it a little bit. And yeah, that was the concept. The first two shows went down quite well for the time. I think we had about 70 on the first show, which doesn't sound like an impressive number, but South Wales in 2019, there were quite a few shows getting 30, 40
Mm.
people. So that went down quite well. And then, yeah, we got over 100 on the second then, which was a massively overbooked show. I think it was like 8 matches plus probably about a 40-man Royal Rumble as well. So it was a bit of a learning curve, that one. It was a little bit silly in hindsight. But yeah, and that was the inception really. And since lockdown came
Mm.
along, so we didn't have a show for nearly 2 years because we were gonna have one in the March of 2020, but about 3 days before lockdown kicked
Yeah.
in. So we didn't come back then until like September 2021. So yeah, it was nearly full 2 years, but it was a good break. It gave us time to like reevaluate things and work on like the positioning and what have you. And we seem to have gone from strength to strength really since
Mm.
lockdown.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, we'll go on to talk about when I went last year. We went to the
Yeah.
back to Banking Hall 2, I think it was last year.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
it was
Second.
2 last year. We'll talk about that in a second. But you mentioned quite the Welsh scene. So obviously we are in, well, we're not saying we're not involved in the Welsh scene, but we sponsor Pro Wrestling Carnage. And we sponsored the Beers and Beatdowns. We renegotiated those longer term. Those guys are great. I find find it quite interesting because they were the first sponsorship that we took on, and it was instantly more than that. I mean, I still get texted every day now from one of the two of them or
Yeah.
both, and it was like their interesting thing is now because you mentioned it was like a fractured scene, but it
Yeah.
seems like now everyone sort of coming together over in Wales and working, instead of working against each other, you're kind of working with each other more.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So we all well the majority vast majority of us all get along. We share our dates for example. So we ultimately do our best not to clash or to be too close to each other. If say somebody is in one area, we wouldn't, or other people wouldn't book a show in that area as well. And a lot of the guys will use elements of the similar talent. So you'll see, say, some of the same faces across quite a few of the shows. And I'm pretty sure the bulk of us use No Mercy Wrestling for things like ring hire, for example, as well. So yeah, so it's definitely a lot more united. And it's kind of been that way since lockdown ended, really. I think everyone was so desperate and so keen to get back in. I think it was just like a natural progression for it to unite. And even the companies who maybe are seen as a little bit more standoffish, like they're still great as well. Like we still share dates, and like if you ask them a question, even if it's not say directly related to the show. So if like I've helped quite a few promotions with things like outdoor advertising, for example. So I had a little bit of experience with that, so I've helped with that. And then likewise, people have helped me then with things like contacts to have on-site medics and just things like that. Like we're all helping each other. We're all trying to help each other learn and grow. So yeah, it's miles apart from where it was say in 2019 where we put the first show on and say it was a rival promotion at the time set up a show on the exact same day. Stopped talent from being on our show, even though we booked them first, because we deliberately booked the show on the day when nobody else was running as well. So yeah, so it's completely different now to how it was. Yeah, and as you see, it's got a really big buzz around the place at the moment. So I think everyone should be proud of what say we've helped build, achieve together, even if say something like myself who's probably had like a really small role in that. But yeah, like we should be proud of like and just how we've done it together, and hopefully other areas will see how we've kind of done it and work together, and hopefully follow suit, because it could only mean good things for the industry as a whole across up and down the country.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great. I mean, the talent pool. I mean, we talk about this in England but obviously in Wales as well. You've got the likes of the up and comers like James Ellis, who's literally just gone on from strength to strength, and he's now doing big things. He's actually coming to our show in Ignite in
Oh, nice.
April for the our championship, our Turnbuckle Championship. He's going for that. He's bringing Blanche with him.
For you.
We had to. We had
Yeah.
to. We just had to bring him for that show. You got that. Then you got the experience. You got the Boars, the Andrewses, Flash subculture in general with that experience, and you got the likes of the Greedy Souls and people like that. New Wave Academy. The Welsh scene at the minute I think, is just as much thriving as it is in England.
Yeah, definitely. I think say the New Wave Training School, for example, probably has got a set of coaches that surpasses probably anything in the UK, say person for person and as a collective. And I think it's showing with who is coming out, and the speed as well is which they're coming out, because New Wave didn't come back, or sorry, Dragon Pro didn't come back, and there was that down period between from lockdown between Dragon Pro and New Wave. So a lot of the guys haven't really been training a huge amount of time in that system. So seeing how quickly people are developing and coming out is incredible to see. So the likes of Brendan White and Wild Boar and Mark Andrews and Danny Jones, Nico Angelo coaching, and Danny Luna is coaching as well. Like, they must be doing absolutely incredible things during the sessions. I hung up the boots before I ever ventured down there, but I imagine that they're so good at coaching. Maybe they would have got something half decent out of me as well. But yeah, they're incredible, and yeah, like to see someone like James Ellis how he's developed, because I worked on shows with him pre-lockdown. He was very, very new then, but the James Ellis of, say, even a couple of months at post-lockdown was worlds apart from the pre-lockdown James Ellis, and like to see how far further along he's come, say a year later, is incredible to see, and just makes you think where he's going to be in like another year, another 2 years on top as well. Like, he's got to be someone who's going to just break out all over the UK on the top shows, and it's probably just a matter of time for him. Really, just needs to stick with what he's doing.
Yeah, absolutely. He's. I said that he works a lot like the man on your shirt. Funnily enough.
Yes, yeah. There's definitely elements there, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely is. He's a great worker. And I think I agree with you. He's going to be top, one of the top guys, and it won't be long, as you say, before he's on, as you say, with the bigger shows over in probably in England as well.
Yeah.
Let's talk about booking a show, because obviously it's all well and good you saying, right, we're going to have, we're going to do this show. It's going to be on this day. How difficult is it, A, to get like what makes a good venue for you initially?
Well, venues is something that we've may never have quite got right just yet. So I'll typically look for a place where the crowd minimum is, say, 200 as an example. I always look at see how high the roof is in the venue, because there's also a lot less low height rings available now compared to a few years ago. And just having a look at things, say, parking is one that I look at. I know not everyone really cares about it, but I do, because I'm a bit of a lazy boy and don't want to walk too much. But things, just making sure that there's a adequate changing areas. Of course, you need separate areas for changing. I know a lot of places pre-lockdown didn't really follow that rule, but of course it's something you need to do, and just to see as well, in an ideal world, there would be no steps, because you really don't want to be carrying the big ring poles up steps or across balconies or anything crazy like that. But and making sure that, say, it has got things like disabled access for example, like most venues do in reality now, because it's something that's almost a requirement, isn't it? Or may actually be a requirement. But yeah, and ideally not in the middle of nowhere as well. I think some of the choices of venue we've had have been better than others. Yeah, ideally we'd be in a massive arena, and it would be easy to sell, and it'd have everything that you could possibly dream of in there. But that's just wishful thinking at the moment.
It also comes with time, right? The
Yeah,
more shows you put on, the name gets out there, more people. And it is also about, because obviously we work a bit with Ignite over here in England, and it's always about not just selling out once, it's getting that constant. So
yeah.
you're getting to a point when you're turning people away more than just one show. It's a consistent. Then you kind of need to think, right, okay, let's look at the bigger venue, or try and get something along those lines.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So I think where we are in Cardiff, we've hit a decent number for, well, the three that we've done there. We've possibly been the most, say, consistent promotion in Wales in terms of number of people attending, like across different venues and across, let's say, a period of time. But yeah, like to get to a point where, say, you're selling out, say, your 300, your 350 people, or what have you, and you're doing it ideally quickly, so you don't spend as much on advertising,
Yeah,
and so you create that, say, that urgency. So if you remember, probably in its heyday, hopefully that's not seen as disrespectful, where Progress, for example, was selling out in minutes, and
yeah.
it was consistently doing it like that. That's the dream to get to. And but yeah, up until we get to that point, I think realistically, say, in the banking hall, I think that would be our limit, unless we can get to the point where, say, two tickets go on sale, suddenly 200 is done. We spent nothing on advertising. We've not really maybe not even announce a talent or a match or anything like that. That's where we want to get to in order to say to move up, maybe to move to a bigger venue, or elsewhere. But if we can't, then there's nothing wrong with a 250 to 300
No,
in the banking hall either. So I think I suppose everyone has their place, really, don't they, in the industry. So yeah, it'd be nice to see if we could develop and potentially have an opportunity maybe to go to say a next stage, or if we cap here and maybe the buzz is the venue, then yeah, that's also good as well.
exactly that. When it comes to booking, the other next thing is you've got the arena, you've got everything else.
Yeah.
Then it's two other things, and the second one's a talent, and we'll get to that. Then it's creating a name for the event. And
Right.
it's not as easy as what people make. I mean, I've done it. I've had brainstorming sessions with people about it. So obviously, how did the Back to the Banking Hall become Back to the Banking Hall?
Um, well, I'm a massive fan of Back to the Future.
Yeah.
And I think so. The first one we did in the banking hall was Brawl at the banking hall.
Okay.
Um, and then I think it was a conversation with me and my wife, and we said something about, "Oh, are you doing another one in the banking hall?" I think I just came out with it. Said, "Yeah, we're going back to the banking hall," probably because I watch Back to the Future. There's a rule in the house: if Back to the Future's on, you have to watch it, and
Right.
it's on TV quite a lot as well, isn't it? So
Yeah.
I think I'm like subconsciously in Back to the Future mode all the time. And yeah, so that is basically why. Just because I'm a Back to the Future nerd.
No, that's perfect. It's a way of doing it. Movies and
Yeah.
things that, or sometimes you have to think of like, well, the next one's called this, so we need to think of one that's along those lines. So like for our show in July, the sponsors show that we're putting on in July with Ignite is Buckle Up. So so Ignite chose Full Throttle for
Nice.
April because it leads nicely into, the show that we're sponsoring with them in July. But the next thing is talent. Now, obviously, everyone books. You tend to have a core base, which is your regulars,
Yeah.
the ones that are there every time you do a show. And then it's like I suppose you may call them something imports or
Yeah.
your other stars that you have. And obviously, you were blessed last show. We're going to get into the big names you got on this show. The last time you went to the Banking Hall, we were there. You got TNA's Ace Austin from Bullet Club, which for me, anything Bullet Club or United Empire related, I'm all over it. How did that actually end up coming about? 'Cause obviously he's TNA contracted, but was it because he's still technically an independent guy that you can do that?
I'm not 100%. Yeah, so I believe the majority of TNA talent are allowed to work shows
Mm.
providing certain criteria, like it's not live on TV or what have you. So we actually had him on Raw at the Banking
Oh,
Hall,
okay.
the first one in, which was the October
Yeah.
prior. Um, so we got him on because he was booked for the 1PW
Ah,
reunion show, or not reunion, Resurrection, the comeback show.
yeah, one of the
Um,
many comebacks.
yeah, yeah. And yeah, I was having a look at the roster page and saw him, and then I thought back to early on in lockdown. I had a chat with Jonathan Millard on his unreleased podcast about talents that you'd like to work with. And because Ace Austin was working, he did one or two shows for TNT just before lockdown. I thought, well, as a realistic answer, I thought, well, if as he's coming over anyway, if there was ever a chance to potentially work with him, I'd see what I could do. So I saw he was booked. Just dropped him an email and said, look, I can see you in the UK. We've got a show booked the next day. What is your say?
Yeah.
What's your arrangement?
Mhm.
And yeah, he put me in touch then with Steve Gauntley. Yeah, he was like CC'd himself. Said, look, we're not any way competition too. We're 4 hours plus drive. I know because I
Yeah.
had to drive to pick ASAP and drive it down. Can we make this happen? And yeah, Steve's really fine about it all. And yeah, paid a little bit, contributed to the flight and share and what have you.
Mhm.
So yeah, so he was on that show, and yeah, we've just stayed in touch. Really, just randomly messaged back and forth for a bit. And then about May last year, said, look, we've got October. It's the same weekend as last year. Have you got your, because it's really, really close for Bound for
Yeah.
Glory. Like, have you got your dates for October if you're free? And you fancy it, we'd love to have you back. And yeah, everything lined up. I think he flew back, and then within a day or two, he
Yeah.
was working Australia for about a fortnight. I think he was doing a tour with Chris Bay. And then they went to Bound for Glory. So yeah, so everything lined up, and that's how we had him back.
It was great, yeah. And obviously, we were fortunate enough to be there, and
Yeah,
you welcomed us with open arms. So thank you for that. You gave us an opportunity to mingle with you guys at the start, and we met Ace. And he was a great guy. And he was mentioning he was off to Australia, and then he was
yeah.
going to Bound for Glory, and that was great. So we went to back to the banking hall too, where we also met someone that we decided to sponsor this year, which was LA Taylor, the champion. We met her briefly. She knew. I always call him Blanche because I always call him he's a wrestling name.
Yeah, I call him Blanche as well. So
Yeah,
it's easier. It's easier.
it is easier. And so he obviously done the introduction. We met Ella, and LA Taylor is one of those. She again, you sort of mentioned like the James Ellises, and she is that. She has got everything that she needs. And again, she's on progress. She's doing a bit of progress with Lana Austin experience. It is only a matter of time for her as well, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so I've worked with LA since she was on our second show post lockdown. So that was October 2021.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, so yeah, and she's been on pretty much every show we've done ever since as well. Yeah, she defeated a certain Mariah May at
Yes.
the first show in Cardiff for the championship, and yeah, she's been the champion ever since. And yeah, you can see as well with her how or as she's progressing as well. Like she is coming on leaps and bounds. And yeah, like I think she's done a couple of matches in progress now,
Yeah.
hasn't she? I think she's had a few singles matches, and yeah, like I can't see it being long before she is just a staple of singles matches, say in progress. And I would have thought, say, your Rev Pros and your other big ones will start booking her as well. I think, yeah, she's another one. It's just a map. It's just time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really, like she just has to stick out with what she's doing. But yeah, she's great. She's come on.
She has come on
She's
leaps and
come on loads.
bounds. Yeah, exactly that. Let's talk about Back to the Banking Hall 3. I've got the match lists here, so it'll be
Yeah,
interesting. I do have to. You've got a breakout match, and I was laughing looking at it because it contains one Danny Owens.
it does. Yeah, yeah,
Now you've got an interesting one here. So you've got 7 competitors to start, a new competitor every 2 minutes, and then there's elimination by pinfall or submission in this. Um, Talk to us about the breakout then, and obviously Danny's coming back.
yeah.
We're not breaking out as such because he's been there, but talk to us about that match and how that come together.
Yeah, sure. So we did a breakout match last March. So that was back to the banking hall.
Yeah.
And that was won by James Ellis. The theory behind it really is to give people, say, an opportunity who perhaps they wouldn't have necessarily either been, say, ready to, or maybe they're not quite known enough, say, to be in like a singles match for example, in that particular venue. So it's just a chance really to say, give people maybe an opportunity, perhaps slightly ahead of schedule, or likewise, then give people a chance who might be coming back from injury, like Danny, for example, who maybe isn't quite ready to do a 20-minute one-on-one for example. And then yeah, give perhaps some more experienced people a chance to work with, say, less experience. So in the one last March, James Ellis won, but we had Elijah was in the
Yes.
match as well, and he's pretty much everywhere as well, isn't he? So yeah, he was there to help, say, to help the less experienced ones, which is kind of what Danny is going to probably have in that match. And yeah, the other person down that we've got is Lucian Phillips as well, who's making his debut for us. So he's works Rev Pro and some other places. I met him at the TNA
Oh,
Gutchet trials in
yes.
Coventry in October. So yeah, so I had a chat with him after the show because I thought he was a bit of a standout on that day, and he's great as like an old school heel. So yeah, I just wanted to have, and but he's never. I don't think he's like wrestled this way
Mhm.
before. I don't think he's coming like as far as Cardiff or anything yet. So I thought that would be a nice way to just to introduce him to the new fans as well.
Absolutely. That's going to be a really good match. And then you've obviously got the star of the wrestlers, Hollywood Hailey J,
Yeah.
in there as well. That's a nice little one. Obviously, star of AEW as well, and OBW. That one's an interesting one because obviously the wrestlers was a massive hit, massive hit on Netflix now, and so that was a really good get for you. How did that one come about?
Similar to the Ace Austin
Hmm.
story, really. Saw that she was booked. I know some promoters can get a little bit protective of when they bring in people over. I'm either too naive or I just don't care. To be honest, I'll just drop a quick email, and if
Hmm.
they say no, or if they say you're probably better off speaking to someone else, that's fine. I've got a contact, and anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, just dropped an email and said yes, I am over. I'm not sure if I'm booked on that day because somebody's handling it,
Yep.
and yeah, they put me in touch, and yeah, she wasn't booked, and yeah, we agreed a fee, and away we went with it, really. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to having her on. Yeah, I've got to sort her match out still
Yeah.
at the moment. But yeah, I think the response to having her has been really positive as well. Um,
Hmm.
like lots of say traction on socials, and yeah, seen it with the tickets coming through as well. I think she's definitely captured the imagination a little bit. So that's really good to see.
Yeah, that is really good. Yeah, obviously, it helps kind of they've done this big show, so you saw people have watched it on Netflix, and
Yeah.
now you're bringing it to Slammasters, and it's like, wow, this is going to be awesome. So that's another great get. We'll move on to the women's division now because obviously our sponsor, LA Taylor, she's defending her title against someone again, very, very. This could be a very, I would say, could potentially be a show stealer against Lizzie Evo.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah. They're both incredible workers. I think um, LA will probably say like she will get better and better and better. With no doubt Lizzie will as well. But you could probably say that Lizzie at the moment is at the top of her game, and the best she's ever been in a surprisingly long career as well. She seems to have been around for ages now. I think she's been in the business for about 10 years or
Yeah.
something absolutely crazy like that. So yeah, so there's no doubt that those are more than capable of putting a match of the night on. Yeah, it'd be really good one to see.
Yeah, it will be a really good match. The next one, and I will never forget this when I went to the banking hall. I've never seen. Well, the Greedy Souls were eating people's chips. They were doing pretty much everything they could do. They're defending the championship, or at least their first defense because they won it at the banking hall.
Yes,
Right?
yes,
So it's
they
their
did. Yeah.
first defense, and it's against the professionals. So again, the Greedy Souls. I mean, they are heat magnets, and they do it so well. But this will be a good test for them to start their first tag team championship defense.
Yeah, definitely. So we've had Joel Redman
Mhm.
on twice. We haven't had him on in Cardiff yet.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's great to get him back. We've not had worked with Eddie Ryan before. He's been at some of the shows. So yeah, and it's yeah great to have him on as well. And yeah, the professionals are the Southwest Wrestling Tag Team Champions, I believe. So they certainly have their credentials together as a team as well. It'd be interesting to see how the crowd respond to it. I've got a little feeling that the Greedy Souls with home advantage might oddly get some cheers, which I'm sure will really annoy Brendan and Danny. But I'm sure they'll do their best to stamp them out if that happens. But yeah, I think that one could go either way.
yeah, that would be a really good match. And then speaking of good matches, I know this one was changed. I think it was due to injury, I believe. But it's we mentioned James Ellis and our my good buddy Blanche. He'll be getting involved again, I'm sure. But he's now going against the returning Mark Andrews from injury. So obviously he's had an injury and coming back, and I think it may well be his first match back from injury against James Ellis. Again, we're talking about show stealers and match of the night, and you look at that, and you're like, that could
Yeah.
again, very well be match of the night.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So originally it was Amir Jordan, but
Yes,
he's gone over to Canada
absolutely.
now. So he had an opportunity to do a fairly lengthy tour of Canada again, because he was over there for quite a few months last year. Yeah, and it was too good for him to turn down. Hopefully we can have him when he comes back. And it's strange how things all line up, really, isn't it? Because as he was, say, no longer available, Mark was recovering well from injury. We were always hopeful that we'd have him back on the show.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's recovered or hope. Yeah, he's recovered in time to make it.
And that will match will be well incredible. And then again, you talk about incredible matches and you talk about massive imports. Leo Rush coming over is amazing. I'm seeing him. I'm sure it's no, it might be even Ali Saturday or Sunday at Rev Pro. Yeah, I think maybe Ali actually, not Leo. But this is going to be an incredible match. Someone that's been there, seen it, done it. Excited crowds everywhere. And he goes against who I always call Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, Wild Boar, in the ring, one of the most intimidating people you'll ever meet in your life. Out of the ring, the nicest person you'll ever meet in your
Yeah,
life.
yeah.
But this match is going to be, it's going to be mind blowing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So when I got in touch with Leo, and we sorted everything out, I was trying to think of an opponent for him, and yeah, I couldn't really see past it being Wild Boar.
Yeah.
In truth, no doubt, he's, say, one of the best Wales has ever produced, possibly one of the best in Europe and
Mm.
UK, and certainly for everything that he's done in terms of, say, training and building the Welsh scene. I couldn't think of a better opponent for him. So they've both got, say, the high flying aspect of it. They've both got good say, technical skills. And then perhaps Wild Boy just it a little bit on, say, the aggression side,
Yeah, Leo Rush better watch
maybe.
his chest.
Yeah. And then yeah, no doubt Leo will have some of his own tricks up his sleeve as well. So yeah, that's another one as well. So what I try and do with the Banking Hall shows is to try and make a card, say, almost as full of potential match of the night contenders as possible. I think that approach, while still just about remaining on budget,
Yeah,
should we say, has probably helped the show stand out just a little bit in a pretty crowded Welsh scene. I describe it as. And so yeah, so I think that approach has certainly helped us get the name and to keep building up with it, and yeah, and to get people who, say, fit the mold of Slammasters as well. So like Leo, like a Leo Rush has got uh, an incredible set of credentials. Say, former WE Cruiserweight champion, X Division champion. I don't want to get this wrong, but was he Super Junior Tag Champion in New
might well have
Japan?
been.
He
Think
won. It's
won
something.
something out of
I'm not into New Japan. But yeah, so it's something that, say, the hardcore fans would certainly know. But then
yeah.
with his work, say, on WE Raw, say, because we do attract a certain family element as well.
Mm.
People who maybe not as, say, knowledgeable of the ins and outs of independent wrestling will certainly know who he is as well. So that's the kind of what I try and get when, say, looking at talent. So people who can go across, say, the breadth of the different audience that we get.
Yeah, what a get, and that is an amazing get to get him over there. It's going to be an incredible match. Your main event for the Slam Master Championship, we were gutted. We missed out on Dries. He was booked in February to come against our champion, Smashing Mike, and it would have been a charisma off. That's what I would have called it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he got booked. I think GCW. I think he was over there. Or
Yeah,
there now.
he's Is he just come back
I
today?
think he may have just come back. Yeah, he
Yeah.
was out there, and we couldn't have him, so we got Eddie Dennis, funnily enough,
Nice.
to
Nice.
replace, which was great. Can't believe how fucking tall that guy is.
Yeah.
He's a big old boy, like in height. I couldn't believe it. But anyway, Martin Grant beat Wild Boar at the Banking Hall
Yes.
last time when we were there to Herney shot. It's going to be an interesting one because Derice has got that charisma. I mean, he lights up that guy lights up the room when he comes in. That is just amazing. He's got the charisma. He's actually, he looks quite lean, but he's quite strong, even with that
Yeah.
leanness about him. But Martin Grant I think I called him a fridge because he has got that, but he's also quite quick for the guy
Yeah.
his size.
Yeah. Yeah. So Martin Grant has been a staple of Slam Masters since show one in 2019. So I believe he's only missed one show through, and that was through injury. He was the first champion. He lost the title to Derice in 2021 and no, sorry, 2022 to come back in 2021. And he never had a rematch. He did some tag work for a while. And then, yeah, he's been back on the singles trail as well. So, yeah, he's not particularly known, say, outside of the immediate South Wales
Hmm.
scene. It's a shame because he's pretty much got everything you could look for in a wrestler. Like he can work, he can mix up his style. He's certainly got the charisma and he's got the look as well, which
Yeah,
like not that many people look like him. And then yeah, Derice, we've had him with us since the comeback show in
yeah.
2021. So there's times I forget really how good he is just because he's just always on the shows now. So but yeah, like he's the most cheered person on every show that he's been. He can do everything in the ring. He can mix up his styles completely. It's hard to describe his style because
He's yeah,
he's aggressive, then suddenly he's slapping on some submission holds, and then he's doing silly moves off the top rope that you don't really know what he's going to do. And he's someone I'm amazed that he's not been signed by a company,
yeah,
especially say when we're seeing people, or we were seeing more people getting signed to say TNA contracts, for
yeah,
example. I just can't see how he hasn't had an offer, no, or maybe he has and it's just not been right. But I'm waiting just to see a man like Derice is TNA or is All Elite graphic
yeah,
or something. And the work that he's doing out in GCW is it's just got to be the precursor to that happening. And especially when you see all the reviews that he's getting and the matches he's putting on out there, and seen clips of him training in Natty and TJ's
yeah,
school as well, and that's going to just do you nothing but good, building up your contacts and things. Yeah, like I think we've been privileged to have him with us for 2 years. Obviously, I really hope we can continue to be, but there's going to be a time where he's just going to say, "Can't do it anymore," which
yeah,
has happened to us with Mariah.
yeah,
Yeah, like well, we lost her to Japan initially, and then obviously hoped we could have her back at the tail end of last year, but no, signed to AEW.
yeah. Now she's all elite. Well, quickly as we start wrapping up, so you've sold over 200 tickets for the bank
Yes.
already, which is fantastic. Where can they get them from as well? And if you've got any other shows coming up, go for it and promote.
Cool. Okay, so tickets can be purchased on our website, slammasterswrestling.com. We have general admission tickets available, so row three onwards. Don't worry, there's not a bad seat
No,
in the house. It's not a huge hall, and so you're never particularly far away from the action. We're going to be in Cardiff in the banking hall on June 9th and October the 13th. So it's a week later in October this year, so we won't clash with the half marathon again. We've done for 2 years, and there has been people who have run the marathon in the day and have
yeah,
come to the show. So no one has to worry about that anymore. And it should help with things like parking and stuff as well. So yeah, so we're in Cardiff on those two other dates. All tickets can always be purchased on slammasterswrestling.com. It's nice and safe and secure to buy them. I'm a bit of a tech nerd, so I've got a few different payment systems involved in it. And hopefully we're going to do something in Bather as well in July, because that would be our 5th-year anniversary from show 1. And we're going to be in Pontyclun, where we've previously run 2 shows. That's on May the 4th. So no doubt there's going to be some sort of Star Wars based nonsense in that one.
Definitely so. Well, I will definitely get to either the June or the October one. So this one we're away, but we'll definitely get to one of those too. In terms of us, I need to do some plugging of my own, so apologies. We got this. Obviously, congratulations to, as mentioned, Smashing Mike. He overcome Eddie Dennis. Well, actually Shenley Road held its breath at one point during it. So Mike is our version of Dries.
Right.
The most over guy in Ignite you'll ever get. He's our champion, and Eddie hit him with the razor's edge, and it was a 2.9999, and the place just literally went. You could feel the air being sucked out of the Shenley Road at that point. But he did overcome it, and once again, congratulations to him. Congratulations to Aluna for winning the inaugural Hit in the Turnbuckle Women's Champion at Apex Wrestling. She is going to be defending that title, I think, next weekend. I think Andy's heading over there, I believe. I say that now.
Who's she defending against?
I don't know. I actually have no clue. But obviously, Mike's next opponent has been announced, and I've already mentioned it. It's the one and only James Ellis, and he's bringing along Mr. Blanche to come with him. So they'll be making their Ignite debuts on April the 21st. Tickets available. Just go to Eventbrite and search Ignite Wrestle Pro. In terms of interviews, we've got a lot coming up. We've got Heath Slater due to come and talk to us very, very soon. And today, Friday, as of recording, when we done this, we announced today that we're going to be interviewing Devon Dudley and Ken Shamrock will be coming along our shows in March time. So we've got a few weeks to prepare for those ones. And then obviously everyone's on the road to WrestleMania, but we're on the road to Buckle Up in July 14th. We can soon to be announcing some names that are going to be, like you said earlier on, overbooked. Yeah, that's going to be. It's going to be overbooked probably, but we loved it last year. It sold out the place. It was one of the best shows Ignite put on that we sponsored, and this year we thought we'd do it all over again and book another great show of wrestling. Names to be confirmed as soon as we can confirm them. We can't confirm them yet, it's too early, but we hope to be able to confirm them soon. John, it's been great talking to it. I loved my time when I went to Slammasters. If you haven't been before, go. Get your tickets. You will not be disappointed. It was a great show. Like I said, I met one of my guys, Ace Austin from Bullet Club. It was awesome for me, but you got Leo Rush there. You got Lizzie Evo, LA. There's so much talent go there. Get yourself down there. You will not regret going to watch Slammasters. John, thank you so much for your time. Good luck with the show. You don't need it, but good luck anyway. I will get down there in either June or October for sure.
Nice.
June's my 40th.
Oh, there we are.
Yeah, it's got to be, isn't it?
Trip to Cardiff it is.
Another trip to Cardiff it is. But this has been Ringside View and Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. He has been John from Slammasters, and I always am your host, Adam Cousins. And until next time, everybody, buckle down, stay safe, and good night.